Hello everyone, how are you? Yes, I know, look at the state of me, shut up, I'm not well. Today I want to do a quick video regarding the Heng Long truck. Some of you might be wondering what happened to that project, because I did a couple of, I think 2 episodes, maybe 3, about converting it into a hobby grade RC from the toy grade that it is, and then it sort of fell off the radar. The reasons being, obviously it took lower priority than a couple of Tamiya builds I was doing, but also I hit a sort of dead end. This is where I'm at the moment now. I have decided to do the vast majority of the work off camera and just sort of do summarising videos and important parts on camera, because what you're seeing here, although it looks like a complete mess, and it is a complete mess, is actually around about 2 days almost of solid work since last time. I mean, I literally for 2 days in a row worked morning to evening on it, and this is all you can see, so not much progress, but it was working things out in my head. Since last time I have fitted the rear lights, which I didn't have before, LED rear lights. They're a complete mess of glue gun glue and black paint, because, well, first of all, this one fell apart, which is why it's messier than that one. It actually fell apart. I had to put it back together. I'm trying to block, because a lot of the light bleeds backwards, so I'm trying to block it all off, seal it in with the glue gun glue and paint it. That'll obviously all be hidden. It's been spliced in here. I don't know if you can see that. It's been spliced into the power cable for the ESC. So it'll be the same for the front ones. When you turn it on, sorry, when you plug the battery in, even before you turned it on, the lights are working on it. So that's good. I've also fitted the servo. I've had to cut away a lot of the tray here. This was sort of mechanical. If you remember, it was a mechanical thing with a motor, just like the actual drive motor. And it was a what do they call it? Non-proportional steering, but it was just like full or nothing, full or nothing. So I've got, you know, a proper servo in there now, with a proper servo horn. The reason it's taken me so long is basically, I wonder if I've got those parts still sitting here actually. Hold on. Do I still have them sitting here? Here we are. Here we are. Yeah, the reason it's taken me so long is I was getting a bit frustrated with this truck. The front end has, you know, it has the, this is the back end, but it's got the leaf springs on it. The front end had the same thing. This was made with these sort of links. You know, you see this here. And this was the steering link going from where the servo would be, but it was actual motor to, you know, onto the actual axle. So it was like that. You can see here, there's no ball studs in them. Now, there was no ball studs at all in the entire setup. So basically there was a post that went up through these, so up like that through them. Now you can imagine if there's a post up through this, it can turn that way perfectly easy, no problem whatsoever. But it also, because the axle has to go like that when the suspension moves, it also had to go like this. Now that's a problem if you've got no ball link at all, because the only way for this to move up and down with no ball link is just to have it loose, have play in it, so it can actually use the play. Now the amount of play and slop in the steering system was horrendous, and the suspension system was absolutely horrendous, and the whole thing would just, you could sit here, you could just wobble it around freely. It was horrible. So what I did is you probably saw it in one of the older videos, is I used some rubber O-rings and tried to restrict the slop, and it did. It stopped the slop, but at the same time it binded this movement. There was no movement in it at all. Well, there was very little movement, because that slot was the only reason it could do these sort of angles. These angles are no problem, but these angles it couldn't do it. So what I've done is you see here, I fitted a proper link. If this will focus, will it focus? I don't know if it'll, there we go. I fitted a proper track link, see that? And this is the steering one now, and it's got perfect free movement, really nice, perfect free movement in these directions, and there's a zero slop whatsoever. So that's what I've done. I've also removed this, actually, although it looks the same, to anybody looking on this video. This is actually quite considerably changed from what it was before, because I've removed the leaf springs and cut away quite a lot of the mounts and everything on it. These are new mounts that I've made, and I've attached links here, because what I'm going to do, this is the top links, what I'm going to do is turn the front of this truck into a proper 4-link suspension, because even with these, you know, proper steering links with the ball stud movements and everything, the actual springs themselves were mounted, and they themselves couldn't twist. They could only go up and down a little bit. Actually, just up, not even down. They could only go from standard point upwards. So there was binding there too, and I was like, well, I thought, well, I could finish it off with just the leaf springs and it would work. But I put money into this and time into this, and I don't want it to be one of these models that looks good, but I don't want to use because it's functionally terrible. So I figure if I leave leaf springs on the back, there's not much movement on the back at all, but the leaf springs on the back of a lorry under a pickup bed is quite realistic, and there's really nowhere to mount anything anyway. But on the front, it'll have a lot more, not a huge amount of suspension travel, because it'll have only short links and very small shock absorbers, but it'll at least have decent articulation, and it should be a lot more capable and more fun to use. So that's basically where I'm at. I've got the RC 4-wheel drive mini Galanda shocks, which are only about this size, and that'll be mounted on. I've got a lot to work out. So most of this time has been trial and error and working things out, which is where the time has gone. It's also why I haven't been filming it, because it was lots and lots of hours of just nothing, me thinking and going, will that work? Well, I will go through my parts, and it's just not an enjoyable thing to watch, which is why I've not been filming it. But it will eventually have this nice 4-link setup in the front. I'll get some links. I can't. These were just they're on it at the moment just as a sort of trial fitment, but I'll need to take them off and have the right length fitted. I won't be able to calculate the length of the links until I've got the shocks mounted on and this mounted onto the chassis, in which case I can start doing all this and figure out where the top and bottom links need to go. But it's going to be a long drawn out process. But when it comes to actually putting it together and trying it for the first time, that will be on camera, so you will see that. So don't worry about that. It's just you don't want to see this whole drawn out process while I'm trying to work this whole thing out. It's just going to be rubbish to watch. What I can tell you is see these, I don't know if it'll focus. Will it focus? Yeah, sort of. In here, there's two sort of plates, I guess. That's the shock will be mounted through that, in between them. And then I've obviously made these mounts. Where are they? There's one. There's another one with holes drilled through them. It's really difficult to get this to do, but that's where the bottom links will be mounted on. So it will have reasonable ground clearance, and it'll have reasonable articulation for the size of the truck, and it will be a lot better. But it will take me a little while, so just bear with me. And that's basically all I wanted to say today. This truck is a long-term project, really, and it's already been quite a long-term project. That's only because it took a back seat. That's what I was going to say about the leaf springs, actually, before I sign off, is the leaf springs. And one of the other reasons that it was binding when you try to move the suspension, up and down, they don't go down. I can't pull these down. That's full extension. When they're sitting, it's a full extension. So I can push that one up, but this one naturally wants to go down when this one goes up, but it can't go down because it's at full extension. So it's horrible. You can feel it binding. You can actually feel it bending, is what the actual word is, bending the leaf spring. It's not nice. At least with a shock absorber, as it sits, it's maybe on that length. When it extends, you still got a little bit more travel and compression. So this one extends, this one compresses, and then vice versa. You can actually get it to tilt back and forward. The leaf springs just don't work like that. So the back of this will still be very sort of meh, but at least there's no steering, suspension slop. It's just purely the leaf spring working back and forward. But actually, it'll work okay. It'll work okay. So that's fine. It just didn't work at the front at all. So there we are. That's what you got to look forward to, a 4-link truck at the front. I think it'll be good. I think it'll be good, but I don't know when. I don't know what the time scale will be. So just bear with me on that. I'll do other videos in the meantime. I might need to order some, or I need to go through my parts again, because what I need to do now is the next step is to have the shocks mounted. So I need to get shock mounts. I want the shocks to mount within the wheel arch. You can see them. So I need a sort of A-frame thing up here. You can get them for quite cheap online, but I might see what I've got that I can make one as well. So that's the next step. And when anything meaningful comes along, you guys will know. So that's it basically. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you soon. See you later.